Finally, the Pogues got a happy ending with Season 3, which makes all the strict rules they had to follow to shoot the season worth it. But these rules are super challenging, and you might find some of them strange. The main cast of Outer Banks have one thing in common: their fit physique, which makes them pass easily for teenagers. And this fitness had to come with the rules for filming the show. Before Netflix chose them to act in Outer Banks, physical fitness was looked out for, and it was an important attribute, especially in the main character John B. For characters who were mainly jumping around from place to place and almost throughout the summer, they would mostly go shirtless and dress scantily half the time, and for it to look perfect, the cast had to be in great shapes themselves. So, having an excellent physique was necessary, and the rule ensured that the cast didn't have it out of proportion. Chase Stokes, who has a body with abs, looks fit enough to play a teenager because his abs aren't too much in ways that will make fans doubt his character. Also, in most parts of the series, especially in Season 3, Sarah and Kiara were mostly in bum shorts and crop tops, which reveals their astonishing bodies, and further enhances that they kept to the rule of having an excellent physique for the show. This rule is important because the character's daily life in the series involves a lot of running around and exercises in which the cast have to look the part. Also, for teenagers engaged in high-risk treasure hunts, the fit body was essential to make it easy for them to go through challenging situations and still come out fine and even victorious. Chase Stokes explains how he has to keep up with John B's physique by going the extra mile to keep a nice body. The actor said that he has a special diet that's mainly protein, and he runs a lot just because John B does the same. However, this wasn't an easy rule for Madeline Klein to follow, and that's because she struggled so much with eating and thought her body needed to be better than it was. But with her mum's help, Madeline started loving her body, curves and hips, which later gave her the confidence to feature in Outer Banks and show her fit body shape. Outer Banks cast appears as typical teens that viewers can't quickly figure out if they had minimal makeup on. But the fact is that the rule was also set for their skin to look naturally tanned, either by getting a fake one or not. Having the cast get a tan is essential because the film's plot centers around the summer period. Also, the characters barely got enough clothes to cover up in their exploration, so it's only best for them to appear as genuine as possible, and that means they needed to look like they were getting enough sun. And if you've yet to notice, the cast seems darker in the show than in their interviews, which shows they took the rule seriously. Interestingly, Madeline Klein found a way to achieve this sun-kissed tone, which is to use a bronzer or a blush. And since Madeline started with the fake tan, she has continued to enjoy looking like she spent all day in the sun, making the rule pretty easy. However, John B and JJ had their skin applied with self-tanner. Still, the fascinating thing about this rule applies to Madison Bailey, who plays Kiara. As she has no tan makeup on most of the time, she said it would have been useless because of the activities that were involved in that would wash the makeup off. The hair is another part that the cast had to pay special attention to. This rule doesn't exclude anyone. Madeline said this rule was strict because she had never had to do anything to her natural dark brunette hair. The actress said, "I never touched my hair. I was too afraid to, and I just didn't want to pay the money to do anything to it, and then Outer Banks happened." However, Netflix didn't know the right color she could do to make her hair look like it had stayed in the sun for a long time, so Madeline took it upon herself to get the sun-kissed look at the salon. Still, she didn't like the result because she said it made her hair look like it had some peanut butter in it. So the actress decided to achieve the beachy blonde by soaking her hair in Sun-In, and now she looks very natural with the tan look because it came out great. However, the story isn't the same with Madison, as she maintains that her hair and curls are genuine and pretty easy to achieve, as all she needed to get that summer hair was to wash her hair and apply a curl cream, and then everything looked great. For the guys, the rules about their hair center on the haircut, which Netflix helps them style and decide on. In this latest season, the male cast all came with a renewed look, which is excellent, and Rafe's haircut looks so perfect too. And it was done to follow the rules, as he had been scheduled to get a haircut for a while now, ever since the show started. Another rule for the cast of Outer Banks was knowing how to swim, because the cast performed most of the water stunts in the series. However, the only thing challenging about this was when the cast had to surf or scuba dive. For Chase, surfing was also very easy for him on the set, as he had learned before joining the show, and even when they were filming, Chase and the others would take a break by going to surf, which shows that they are very good at it. But then Chase found scuba diving challenging, as the first time he would do that was in the first season, as the actor confessed that he wasn't adequately trained before he did the scene where he dived. Outer Banks isn't just about discovering treasures and getting into trouble. It also involves throwing a lot of punches, as the rivalry between the Kooks and the Pogues become heated throughout the show. And for this, there's a standby rule to know boxing, and the right way to throw punches. Even though the cast learned this to film most of the show, they didn't become experts, as they primarily engaged in the act without any ensured safety on the set. The young cast of Outer Banks is quite popular as they connect more with the younger generation and among themselves. So there's no rule to restrain or stop the cast from exploring friendships and relationships outside of the show. It's even encouraged for the cast to become very close, as it helps with the chemistry that they share on screen. However, relationships like this could go wrong behind the scenes, especially when they get involved with each other romantically or something related to that. While it might be okay for the cast to explore personal relationships with each other, there's a standing rule for them not to bring this drama to the show. And this rule is essential because it has affected some other shows where actors would walk away from a series after their relationship behind the scenes goes wrong. But even after Chase Stokes and Madeline Klein dated and broke up, they had to set their priorities straight and not affect their jobs according to the rules. Chase mentioned that it's an enormous privilege to feature in a Netflix show like Outer Banks because it has changed his life for the best, and to throw it all away due to a relationship complication would be stupid, and that's why Sarah and John B are still going strong even if they are no longer dating in real life. The same can be said for Madison, who plays Kiara, and Rudy Pankel, who portrays JJ, because their characters have had the most incredible growth on set, and Kiara and JJ are very much in love with each other, especially with how JJ consistently shows up for Kiara to rescue her despite how her parents try to keep her away. And all of this is amazing considering that their relationship behind the scenes has become distant after fans started to attack Madison's girlfriend, Mariah Linney, by preferring that she goes for Rudy instead. And also, Madison already displayed how angry she was by this statement and may have tried to put some barrier between herself and Rudy in real life. Still, no matter how big this conflict might be, they aren't permitted to discuss or bring it to set, as it could ruin the mood and delay shooting, affecting productivity for everyone involved. Netflix series are usually promoted with interviews and public outings, and there are rules set in place for this, in which Outer Banks is no exception. The cast of Outer Banks had to follow a standing tradition of knowing what to say and the kinds of stuff not to spill in an interview. The cast can't spoil the show for the fans or tell them what will be in the next season, so that's why interviews mostly happen after the release of a new season. However, the cast can have their theories, just like most fans do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Also, the cast of Outer Banks can't discuss their contract details as it falls clearly under the non-disclosure agreement. And also, they each have different contractual agreements with Netflix, as they're all represented by various agencies. So they're also not allowed to share the details of their deals with Netflix among themselves to an extent. The Outer Banks cast is often delighted to share some of the tricks and dangers they went through to film, but sharing this information also has its limitations. So, what do you think of these rules that the cast of Outer Banks had to follow? And do you think that they followed them strictly? As always, share your thoughts in the comments section below, and thank you so much for watching.